I'm Hannah Taylor. I've been a barrister at Cornerstone for a year, and I'm a member of our cross-disciplinary team, Cornerstone Climate. Cornerstone Climate were involved in the Inter-American Court of Human Rights advisory opinion, which was handed down in May of this year, concerning state obligations with regard to climate change and human rights. Nina Pindham, a member of Cornerstone Climate, was instructed by Global Strategic Litigation Council and a coalition of Caribbean civil society groups to draft part of an amicus brief submitted to the court, and this was one of 263 written comments that the court received on the advisory opinion. The opinion is a tour de force of state obligations in the context of climate change, and I wanted to pick up on just a few key elements. First, after a detailed engagement with the science, the court concluded that the current situation can be considered as a climate emergency. The court also recognised that the right to a healthy climate was a part of the right to a healthy environment. It then looked at that right in general and considered that it imposed duties on states, both in relation to mitigation and adaptation to climate change. So, for example, states had a duty under human rights laws to define an appropriate mitigation target, taking account of the best available science and considerations of justice. The court also recognised that the climate crisis impacts obligations associated with a wide range of rights, such as private and family life or labour and social security. The court recognised the importance of obligations arising from procedural rights in the context of the climate emergency. And finally, the court addressed obligations which arise from the principle of non-discrimination and equality in the context of the climate emergency and climate justice. I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Rob Williams, who will talk more about the work of Cornerstone Climate.
My name's Rob Williams. I'm Joint Head of Planning at Cornerstone Barristers and was one of the founding members of Cornerstone Climate. Cornerstone Climate was set up in 2023 and it's a first of its kind at the UK planning bar. It's a cross-disciplinary practice group, bringing together those within chambers who have expertise in planning, in environment, in regulation, in property and in public law to focus on climate-related issues and climate-related development. Now, members of chambers have been involved in some of the most important climate-related litigation in recent history. We had 5 members of chambers in the Finch litigation in the Supreme Court, the leading case on environmental impact assessments. We had members involved in the Carbon Budget Delivery Plan challenges, which is the UK government's flagship policy for achieving net zero by 2025. And only this week, we've got 3 members of these chambers involved in challenges to the Luton expansion decisions being heard by the High Court. We act for promoters, for NGOs, for public authorities, central and local government, and we bring to bear our expert advice in relation to all of those. Members have worked on schemes relating to offshore wind farms, from DCO applications down to smaller applications, onshore wind farms, again, of the whole variety of sizes, Section 78 appeals and advising in relation to those, as well as DCOs. In terms of solar farm, we've been involved in many of the leading planning court cases recently on the legislative and policy context for solar farms. Members regularly advise and act in relation to inquiries and, again, DCOs in respect of solar farms of all sizes across the country. Members have advised and acted in nuclear, most noticeably the Sizewell C nuclear power station DCO. But of course, it's not just concerned with renewable and low carbon development per se, it's the infrastructure that supports that, which is of importance and which members have advised and acted in respect of. We have members advising in relation to large battery storage sites at the moment and promoting those developments. Other members are advising the National Grid and others in respect of grid connection and the like. And we've also had members promoting electric vehicle charging stations, a novel charging station in the national parks, one that's close to my heart that consent was granted for about 18 months ago. So members of Cornerstone Climate stand ready to assist with any climate-related development you may have.
In terms of advice for young lawyers seeking to develop their skills and knowledge on climate-competent lawyering, I have 2 key pieces of advice. The first one would be to keep across the work of your bar association or law society. Many of them are putting out statements, resolutions, and policies on the interaction between climate change and legal practice. Examples include that of the International Bar Association, the Law Society of England and Wales, the American Bar Association, and the Law Council of Australia. The second piece of advice is that part of climate-conscious lawyering is ensuring that you can adapt your legal services in light of the implications of the climate crisis. So a lawyer working in real estate or asset-based transactions should be aware of and be able to advise on the physical climate risks and how they might impact real estate ownership, for example, flooding, fire, uninsurability, and so on. And to properly advise on this, you need to undertake education and training in matters related to climate legal risks to ensure that you maintain the standards of competence and discharge your duty of care to your client. So keeping across updating webinars, seminars, and educational opportunities is a great way to develop your skills and knowledge in the climate conscious lawyering space.